Thinking about moving to Mission Viejo and wondering what the high schools are like? Today I'm sitting down with the principal of Trabuco Hills High School, Alicia Foulk, to give you the real scoop. From academic programs to athletics to student success and safety. If you're a parent, this is the kind of insider information you don't want to miss. I hope you enjoy learning about Trabuco Hills High School. I am here with Principal Foulk from Trabuco Hills High School, and we're going to find out all about her. We're going to find out about how Trabuco Hills is an integral part of Mission Viejo and the community. So thank you so much for being here with me today. We're going to have fun, just talk about things, talk about your experience as a principal and what Trabuco Hills offers to Mission Viejo. So I guess my first question is, tell me your path to getting to Trabuco Hills and being principal.
Sure. Well, I'm originally from the Columbus, Ohio area, and when I was graduating my undergraduate degree at Denison University, I was looking for a teaching position, and so I started off actually as an English teacher in the Corona-Norco district, and I taught English for a couple of years there at Santiago High School. And then I actually moved closer to the ocean and was living in the Palos Verdes area. Oh, wow. And I taught for 10 years at Palos Verdes Peninsula High School as an English teacher. And then I became an administrator there. And I was a dean and assistant principal for 3 years. And then I was looking to move into Orange County, and I got a position at Woodbridge High School, and I was an assistant principal at Woodbridge for 5 years. And then I started my principalship here at Trabuco in July of 2020. So this is my first principalship, and it started in the middle of the pandemic. Wow. So it was a really interesting time to become a school leader in a position like that. I feel like this district was awesome. Robert Craven especially was really integral in a lot of the COVID protocols and policies and kind of helping us and guiding us along the way as we kind of transitioned into some in-person learning with students still learning in a more hybrid or at home. And then once we transitioned to fully in person and kind of what that looked like. So as a new principal, I did not actually get to have an in-person meeting fully with my staff until 13 months on the job. So it was really unique. And so this is my 6th year at Trabuco. Oh, wow, that's great. Now, and you mentioned Robert Craven? Robert Craven, he's one of the assistant superintendents in the district here in Saddleback Valley. And, we have a few others, but he is one, as well as, Dr. Turner and a few others that really, despite us not being fully in person and things like that, really found ways to make me feel welcome in the district and, just kind of ensured that I had everything I needed to run the school. And the staff here was phenomenal when I started. A lot of our staff was in person for at least part of the time. We had all of our office staff was here most of the time, and the teachers were here part of the day. And then, part of their time was also doing some distance things with students. And I really made an effort that first year to get in classrooms. And one of my favorite things about being a site administrator is being able to be in rooms. And that first year was really challenging because there just weren't very many people in the rooms. So that next year was really nice when everyone returned to fully in-person learning. And I think that's one of the things I like the most about being on a high school campus is being able to be around the kids and see what they do every day and to interact with the teachers. And it's, one of the reasons why I like being at the site. Let's talk about academic and school environment. What do you think sets Trabuco Hills apart from other high schools in the area? I think one of the things that makes Trabuco Hills High School so unique is our values of inclusion. And one of the big things that we have that we were one of the first schools in the country actually to have a unified program on our campus. And our unified program is our foundational students are paired with general education students in multiple classes. And they're able to both be with their general education peers and also be learning. So we do that specifically in 2 classes right now, or 2 programs. So we have a PE program that's a unified program where there's general education students and students with disabilities in the class together. And then we also have arts programs, and we have 2 different arts programs right now. We've had a visual art course for quite a few years. So these classes existed even before I was at Trabuco. And then just a couple years ago, we also started a unified choir program.
Oh, cool.
which is amazing. And
Yeah.
it's such a unique opportunity for students both with and without disabilities to be able to work together, to learn together, and then with our visual performing arts students to actually be able to perform together. So every year at the holiday season, they perform a Christmas carol together. And then with the choir, they also perform in multiple choir concerts over the course of the year. And that really is, that's all driven by Kara Johnson. She's a teacher here on this campus, and it's really her passion and love to bring that program to our students and to make it available for her students that she teaches in our foundational program. And on top of that, she's also added other elements. We have a unified games that's essentially, it's almost like not an obstacle course, but it's different physical challenges that all of the unified students from all across our district come to our site and participate in each spring. A couple years ago, she organized and has now been running a Unified Arts Day once a year that again brings students from all the middle schools and high schools that have unified programs together to participate in arts activities for the day. And then we just this year, and we're having our grand opening in about a month, we are opening almost like a store that we're calling Monty and Millie's Exchange. So our mascots here at Trabuco are Monty and Millie Mustang. And so we're using Monty and Millie as our mascots for our exchange. And it's essentially kind of like a thrift store where students can bring items in and exchange it for other gently used or even new items. And then we're also going to be using it as a potential reward store. Our students earn rewards through our PBIS character points and values. So we have 3 attributes that we ask our students to model: being responsible, respectful, and connected. And so when students emulate those values, the teachers give them points. And so this is one of the ways that students could potentially redeem their points would be in the store. And the store is being organized almost solely by Kara, and Amicy Smaller is our other teacher in our foundational program, and then some student volunteers. And then the store itself is going to be run with our students in our foundational program. So it's essentially giving them almost like a job experience here at school. So it's a really awesome opportunity for her students and then for our students to also be a part of that. And that was one of the things when I even when I first started, even when there weren't a lot of kids on campus, I already saw some of those elements of inclusion and how we really try to celebrate all of our students in unique ways here. And it's something I've seen for all 6 years that I've been here, is just finding ways to celebrate students and not only recognizing, our high performing students, because every school has high performers, also recognizing students that are just kind and that want to give back to the school or want to give back to their peers. And so that's one of the special programs that we have here that I think really sets us apart from a lot of other high schools. The foundational program are typically students that might have moderate to severe disabilities.
And that's a Saddleback Valley
and those are
program.
it's kind of, most schools actually have students that have disabilities at some level. And so we obviously, as many schools might have, we have students with a variety of disabilities. And so a lot of times students with more severe disabilities are in a self-contained class, and they're not often included in a lot of other classes or programs on campus. And so Kara Johnson she runs our Best Buddies program. They do unified games where they play basketball or football at lunch and things like that. She also brought CIF sanctioned sports in Unified now with track and field and swim, and we've been state champions in track and field as a school. They're even starting unified flag football this year for the first time. And that's, Kara has been really instrumental in bringing those things to us and providing our students those opportunities to participate. She works really closely with the Special Olympics to where we've even had the Special Olympics youth groups. We've hosted them here on our campus. We've had students go to the Special Olympics games in Orlando, Florida. They're going to, I think, Minnesota in the next month or two to compete.
Wow, cool.
So, and that's really, Kara has been, so instrumental and essential in being able to provide those opportunities for our students and our families.
when it comes to academics and standout programs, what are the school's academic strengths?
We have the largest IB program in the district, one of the largest in Orange County currently. We, this past year, graduated a full cohort. All of our IB diploma candidates obtained an IB diploma. So we had 27 full diploma candidates, and they all got their IB diploma. We also had an additional 30 so that got certificates in other subjects. So we do have an IB film program that's a certificate. It's not a full diploma. And then we had students that took IB exams in a variety of other subjects that they got certificates for. And on top of that, we also have largest AP program in the district. We administered probably about 300 more exams than any other high school in the district, with the highest pass rate in the district as well, with 4 exams that our students were in the classes here and every student got a passing score.
How would you describe the difference between IB and AP?
So IB is International Baccalaureate, and International Baccalaureate is a world recognized program for students to be able to take exams. The exams are actually multi-part. So a lot of people are familiar with AP, where AP is, you take a class and then at the end of the year you take a test. With IB, there's 2 components to the exam, because there's the instructor analysis piece as well as an actual exam. And so the instructor will do an assessment of you, and that score gets submitted, and then you also sit for an exam, and that is then scored by IB. And what IB does is they take those 2 and they essentially do an analysis and comparison. And so you have your teacher who has been with you all year and preparing you and also assessing you. So it's a little bit more holistic of a score than what an AP exam score might be. So IB is actually recognized more, especially at more prestigious Ivy League and elite colleges than AP exams are. We, of course, want our students to take the most rigorous program that they can possibly take and be successful. So we encourage our students to also take AP and take AP exams, because those are the most rigorous courses we offer. And we have a lot of students that take both. We have quite a few that take, 5, 6, even 7 AP classes in one year. And so then they end up taking those exams, or they might take 3 or 4 IB and 3 or 4 AP in one year, to where all of their classes are the highest level possible, because the more competitive universities want to see a student take the highest level courses we offer. And since we offer AP in every subject, we do have students that'll take multiple AP science courses in a year, or they'll be in multiple science and language and history and art and their English. And so, our students, they tend to take those top classes and access as many of them as they can at one time. The nice thing for our students, and this is where I think our success really shines, especially this past year, is we have a really great articulation and vertical alignment with students that take those honors level courses as freshmen and sophomores, and then matriculate into the AP courses as juniors and seniors. Is they continue that level of academic rigor and success. And we've seen that in our performances in AP and IB. And then even this past year, the state standardized assessments that our students have to take, we made a double-digit gain in math this past year. We went from 41% to 52% students that met or exceeded the standard.
That's great.
On the math exam. And then on English, we went from 70 to 77% of our students that are meeting or exceeding the standard. So our students are not just in the high level courses, but overall outperforming, their peers across the state. So we're really happy to see that across the board.
And that's CASP.
Yeah, the CASP
right?
exam.
Can't have a long enough acronym.
No. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other programs specifically?
We have other programs that are, not just the high level programs. We have a business pathway that we started last year. The teacher that taught the intro to business class actually had 6 sections of it last year in its first year of the program. And
because there was that much
interest. I had actually had a young man, he graduated 2 years ago, but he had come to me when he was a sophomore saying, I've taken these business classes at Saddleback. I think it would be great if Trabuco had a business program and if we had some business classes. So Jen Moore, one of my assistant principals, she and I kind of met and we talked about it, and then we kind of did some feelers and we figured out we actually have a teacher here who's credentialed to teach business and is already a professor through Saddleback College.
Okay.
So Jen was able to articulate an agreement with Saddleback College that course is actually a dual enrollment course where our students are getting credit here at Trabuco and then also earning credit at Saddleback.
Oh, that's great. And they do it here on campus.
And they do it here on campus during our school day as part of the rest of the classes that they're enrolled in here at Trabuco. And it's actually a 3-year course where the students are going to get 30 credits from Saddleback. Take all 3 years, they're going to get multiple years worth of credit for a business course here that just gets them that much closer to even potentially getting an associate's in business through them or something like that if it's something they're really interested in. So we ran, again, a full 6 periods of it for this year. And then we also have the level 2 offered here with a Saddleback professor that is coming on our campus and teaching the level 2 right now. He has 3 periods of it during the school day. Okay. So those are all students that took it last year that want to continue in it. And then our hope is obviously to then offer the level 3 next year to students to be able to continue in the pathway and take that capstone course as juniors or seniors next year as well. Career Technical Education, so CTE, which is something I've always been very passionate about and involved in, when I was in Palos Verdes and again in Irvine and then here. CTE is something I've always been really passionate about. I have a brother who's in the automotive industry, a nephew who's a welder, another one who's an electrician, that those trades they're not going anywhere and they are some of the highest paid jobs that you can get. And you have essentially lifetime guaranteed employment in some of those professions right now. So it's nice to see our students get some of those hands-on experiences. We have a very successful, very robust engineering program here that students participate in. We have a program called Spyder Lab that's very unique. There's only a couple schools in the county that have it, and Spyder Lab actually works with the company Spyder Lab, and it's a graphic design company.
Oh, wow.
And so we have all the equipment industry standard that our students get trained on here, and they earn certificates to then potentially get positions at companies where they would make at least a few dollars more an hour because they have that certificate than someone else starting out to use the equipment. We even have alum now that are coming back and helping teach our students how to use the equipment. And they're making gear for us, like t-shirts and buttons and stickers and things like that. And so they're actually running it as a business. So it's letting kids see the whole kind of business model process that you would see from kind of invention to product to actual, production to sale. So they're seeing the whole spectrum. One of the biggest projects that they've done the last 3 years is, I don't know if you noticed when you walked up, the window coverings that we have.
Yes.
They designed those and installed them.
Wow.
So they designed, printed, and installed our window coverings on the majority of our windows on our campus now.
Okay.
And it serves a couple purposes. Obviously one is the aesthetic. It's a nice visual. A lot of them are branded to our Trabuco colors and to our mascot, the Mustang. We have PBIS Mustang Way, the responsible, respectful, and connected on it. And then some teachers have them on their windows as well that have their name on them, or have, like English teachers have ones with books on them and things like that. So that was something that we have a safety committee that meets frequently. And one of the things that they talked about was, how to keep our students and our staff secure in classrooms. And that was one of the suggestions was if we're not going to buy blinds for every set of windows because those are expensive, maybe we could design something with the Spyder Lab that is essentially a privacy film on the windows. So they did that. And it's great with our front office because then we don't have to have the blinds closed and we don't have blinds on the doors. So it also helps keep the heat out a little bit as well. So it's helping as an energy saver also. So it's been a really nice added benefit and a nice visual for our campus and giving the kids the experience of actually designing and seeing their designs on our campus. They even had a group last year that a couple students that had gone through elementary school at Foothill. When the principal, Miss Stevenson, was here, she saw the window coverings and asked me who the vendor was, and I told her it was actually one of our teachers. And so she connected with him and a few of the students from Foothill that are students here now, went over and they, came up with some designs and they presented it and got approval, and then they came back and printed them, and then they went as a group and they installed them at the school. So not only to see it at their own campus, but to see it at the elementary school where they went as well. The kids really loved being able to do that. It was really neat.
That's fun.
So
that's cool. Yeah, I always love seeing when kids are seniors at a high school and then they go back to the elementary school and talk to the 5th graders or 6th graders or whatever. It's always, kids seem to be happy and nostalgic when they go back to their elementary days. You've kind of already talked about this, but if there's anything else that you want to add to as far as how does the school support students with different learning styles or academic needs? So I know you talked about the foundation program.
Yeah, and I think we try to do what we can for students at all levels. So we have our IB and AP program that supports students that are taking the most rigorous and challenging courses. And we have a fantastic special education program here. And then we also have a few programs that kind of address your typical college prep bound student. We do offer AVID here. It's a district supported program. So AVID is Advancement via Individual Determination. Okay. It's a program born out of San Diego County, actually. It's been around for about 30 years, and it's really designed for students that are potentially first to go to college in their family. That was how the program originated. And so kind of your typical student that may not necessarily have a lot of exposure to what is going to a 4-year college look like? What are the requirements? How do I get in? And then even some skill-based things, developing executive functioning, how to take notes, how to be organized. That's all built into the AVID program. And we're, kind of continuously trying to grow that program. I think this year we have 2 classes of freshmen taking it, which is awesome to have, about 60 students enrolled in AVID this year, because it does provide a lot of great foundational skill building for students. And, when you look at a typical freshman, they can often benefit from how to take notes, how to be a little bit more organized, some of the things that, our teachers do try to help support their students, and they also want to see them take ownership of some of that themselves. And so there's a lot of systems built in that help our students do that. And then we also have a program that's very unique that not a lot of other schools have, that's called MedSci. And it is teachers at the sophomore, junior, senior year that they work as a collaborative group where they have students that are in college prep, English and science and math, and they cohort them to be able to do cross-curricular projects and assignments. And they try to design them around the medical science industry type things. And then for a student to graduate from here and receive their, MedSci completion, they also need to have taken at least one CTE or ROP class. Okay. So one of the big ones that our students will take is our sports medicine class, or the EMR and EMT courses, since those are also medical-based courses that are offered here after Bell. And so our students will also take those. So, and those are kind of just, classes that are available for a typical student. The nice thing about those is that the teachers have the opportunity, since the kids are cohorted, to also be able to kind of encourage them across multiple classes to be more successful academically.
How would you describe the culture and overall student experience at Trabuco Hills?
I would say I've seen a lot of change in that in my 6 years here. Obviously, primarily my first year, there wasn't a lot to student life, since we didn't have students here much outside of the time that they were in class because of the pandemic. And I would also say, the hard part, I think, was for students to get adept and adapt back to going to school events, seeing what that looked like. When we first came back, we had a huge number of kids that came to things. And then things kind of leveled out a little bit, and students, kind of took a step back for a year or two. And then I would say in the last year and a half to, going into this year, we're seeing that increase in school spirit. Trabuco, from what I have heard, used to be known for its school spirit at, not just at the number of kids that showed up to events, but also just on a typical Spirit Day,
Oh.
a lot of students would participate. So I think we're starting to get back to that a little bit. And it's one of the things we've really been trying to build into part of our culture in recognizing students as one of our 3 attributes with that connected, really trying to encourage students to be more connected to the school and to have more school spirit, knowing that high school is not everyone's cup of tea and not everyone's going to, want to dress out in a class color or things like that, but really trying to encourage that because we are such a large school, having that camaraderie with your peers and really having that, recognizing that we are more similar than we are different in a lot of ways. My activity director, Jeff Louie, does a fantastic job in planning events and really trying to work with our ASB and our students that plan the majority of events to be reflective and to, when they plan an event and maybe it doesn't go the way they think it was going to, why did that happen? And so what do we need to do so that we're, hitting our audience and actually getting kids involved? How do we do that? And really surveying our student body, figuring out what are some of the things that they're interested in? What are things that we could be doing that might be of more draw for students than others. One of our most successful events every year is our homecoming. And so we do a very large carnival on the Saturday that's, it's literally carnival rides. And the kids love it. They have such a fantastic time. So even trying to find ways to, how can we emulate that for other dances and events so that it's not just a dance. There's other ways to have fun and be involved that night and, be out with your friends, doing something fun and, being in a safe environment where, there's a lot of adults here for an event like that. So it's one of the things that they really have worked on. And one of the other things that ASB here has worked on is being really service focused. So for the last couple years, they've done a few different service drives where the last couple years we've partnered with Second Harvest and some of the other groups to do a pretty large toy and clothing drive for families at the holiday time. They even were doing a Tip a Mustang last year where we could bring in gifts and the kids would wrap the gifts and then they took all the money and donated it as well. So we've really tried to organize in that way and, be supportive. And this past year they did the Love Mission Viejo Day and we were part of that in the spring. They'll be doing it again this fall and spring. So there's a separate service organization that is running that. And apparently it's in a few different cities. And our district office actually helped with some of the planning in the spring. And so we had about 100 volunteers here at our school even. Helping with campus beautification.
Oh, cool.
And kind of, projects that were things that, if you have a lot of people all laying mulch, it can happen in a couple hours versus, 2 or 3 days that it might take a crew of 2 people to do. If you have 20 people doing it, it can be done in a couple hours. So we had a bunch of projects like that on our campus that it was nice timing because it was May. So it was a little bit before graduation. So we were able to plant a bunch of plants along our hillsides. They planted, they put mulch down. They redid our whole planter section in our main quad area and really just helped make our campus look nice. They painted in some different spots and things like that. And it was a lot of volunteers from the community. And even when I met with one of the groups, they picked ours because it was one of the only ones that had a large number for a large group to sign up for. So there were about 30 people from a local church that all ended up coming to our school to help with the projects that day. So it was really great. And we even offered it because we knew we were going to be here to help. We offered it to our students. And so we had a lot of students that came either to earn community service hours or to work off demerits as a disciplinary thing. And they were able to, earn hours by helping support and planning things and stuff like that. And, some of it's students that are, they have, gotten in trouble here and there over the course of their time from making bad choices or not making bad choices necessarily, but making a bad choice one time. And so then it's a nice way for them to then also see, I planted that. And so then positive reinforcement when they're, standing in an area with their peers, don't push somebody in there. I just did that last weekend. So it's been nice because it's also had the positive benefit of some kids taking ownership a little bit of the campus and, having a little bit more pride in their school.
That is good.
Yeah.
Now, and you mentioned being a large school. So how many students do you have?
So we currently have just over 2,500 students.
Wow. Okay.
So we are the largest in Saddleback Valley currently, with just over 2,500 students.
Wow.
So we've actually gotten a little bit bigger from last year into this year, and even from the previous year. So,
okay. And how many middle schools do you pull from?
So our main feeder middle school is Rancho Santa Margarita Middle School.
Okay.
So it's obviously in RSM, though it kind of splits the border between RSM and Mission Viejo as well. We do get a handful of students from all of the middle schools, but that's the primary feeder for us.
Wow,
yeah.
2,500. That is a lot.
Yeah. Our freshman class and sophomore class are our biggest classes right now. So we have gotten bigger.
Yeah.
That we have over 660 freshmen and 660 sophomores right now.
What types of extracurricular activities, clubs, and sports are available?
So clubs and activities, we have a whole gamut of things. In any given year, we could have between 80 and 150 clubs that start out, and it really just kind of depends. I would say we probably end up with about 60 very active clubs on campus, and our teachers volunteer their time to be advisors of most of those clubs. We have a Key Club that is a Southern California staple here, that we actually have the lieutenant governor on our campus most years for Key Club. She's a current student, and the last 4 years, the lieutenant governor of the Southern California chapter of Key Club has been a student from Trabuco. So we have a very active Key Club.
What is Key Club?
So Key Club, it's a service organization.
Yes. Okay.
So it's kind of based out of the like the Rotary Club. So it's the student version of the Rotary Club.
Okay.
And then we also have a few other, our Fellowship of Christian Athletes is a very popular, very large club as well. And a few others that tend to, kind of ebb and flow in terms of size and popularity. We have an active California Scholarship Federation program, a National Honor Society program. So those are also service driven. So that's, I think, one of the things that makes us unique is one of our big activities is how much service our students participate in. And then in terms of athletics, we have it all. And our girls athletics last year especially did really well, which made me proud as a female myself.
Yes.
So our girls flag football last year, in the first year of them doing any kind of playoffs, we were the finalists in Division II. So we did not win the whole thing, but we did make it to the final game. And then the same with our girls lacrosse. They also were finalists, so runners up in the finals for the CIF for the area. And then we had the girls cross country won the state championship last year in Division I.
Yeah.
So we had one of the fastest teams in Southern California by far.
Wow.
And in the entire state. And they did well enough that they even went up to Oregon and raced in the Nike run in Oregon shortly after the finals last November. So
the finals in Clovis?
Yes. Yeah.
I've been there.
So.
It's quite a to-do. The kids are so fast. That's incredible.
Yeah. And our boys cross country tends to also do really well. And they had runners that competed at the state level. Same with our track and field. We are a little bit of a kind of a track and field running school. It's one of the sports we tend to do really well in every year. I think I mentioned our unified track and field. They also went to the state level and had some winners at that and won the state title at the unified track and field also. And then, we have football, as most schools do. Football, not all the teams that we play are in our local area. So we do still play El Toro every year. That's kind of, our crosstown rival a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we'll play them in a couple weeks. And, we play a total of 10 games. And so once we hit the league games in week 5, 6, that'll be when those games will kind of help determine whether or not we get a playoff spot or something like that.
Okay.
So, and then basketball, baseball, softball, essentially the whole gamut. I think it's a total of about 26 between boys and girls, fall, winter, and spring.
Yes.
So it's a lot to keep track of. And Dr. Magnera and Mr. Leone are kind of the heads of our athletics department and help with not just supervising, but also kind of facilitating and making sure that our facilities are in good condition and that all of our teams have access to everything when they need it. So the fall has gotten a little trickier with the addition of the girls flag football because our stadium is obviously in high demand. And they actually just replaced our turf this summer.
Oh, cool.
So we have a beautiful brand new turf field for our football programs, and then it'll also be used by soccer in the winter and then lacrosse in the spring. So our track gets for our football programs, and then it'll also be used by soccer in the winter and then lacrosse in the spring. So our track the field at least gets a lot of good use over the course of the year.
That's good.
So, and our marching band uses it as well.
Okay.
We have an award-winning state championship marching band program here that's won the state championship in their division for, I think, the last 4 or 5 years in a row now.
Wow.
And so they also practice on our stadium field.
The schedule must be down to a minute.
Yeah, sometimes it is that precision for sure.
Yeah.
So the marching band will start practicing and rehearsing their field show, and they'll have their championships in the fall as well.
Wow.
So
of all the clubs, I mean, obviously, yes, there's always CSF and NHS, but like, tell me like 1 or 2 of the really kind of unique ones that stand out that are kind of fun or silly.
It's kind of changed every year. Last year we had a group that, we're not that close to the ocean, and we had like a surf club. And I thought, I'm not sure what teacher you're going to get to go surfing. We have teachers that surf. So it was kind of funny to me because I feel like we're up here in the hills, and it's not necessary. The surf isn't necessarily a big draw for people up in, the Mission Viejo area on this side of town. So that one kind of, made me chuckle a little bit last year. I was proud last year we started a recycling club.
Oh, cool.
Because I felt like that was one most schools have, and we didn't really have an active one at the time. So I was glad that the kids kind of under their belt and started that with me last year. Different groups of kids that'll have different interests every year. We have a lot of academic clubs, which I think is fun and cute, that our kids, they want to do tutoring club and things like that they actually want to spend their lunchtime helping other students learn, which I think is really cute and really indicative of the level of students we have here, that we have students that, want to help other students and want to see students be successful.
Stay tuned for part 2 of my interview with Principal Alicia Foulk and learn more about Trabuco Hills High School.